Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance Live Show number 46. I'm your host, Ramon Azab, and I'm joined by my co-host and esteemed colleague, good old Maurice. How you doing today, bud?
Good, you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, it's been, again, a couple weeks since we've been on the air. A lot of stuff going on, but we're just trying to, trying to get things going. And, we've got some footage here today, right now, of some bounty hunters and the reworks. So we're taking a look at that right now on screen. This is courtesy of EA and the Game Changers program. So thank you very much for that. Have you had a chance to try these guys out yet? And what are your thoughts about the rework overall? I mean, it's now that we actually have a chance to play with it hands on.
Well, I think they look like a lot of fun. I personally don't have the resources to invest in. The only characters I really have ready to go are Boba and IG-88. The rest of them need a lot of work, and they're not the easiest to gear. So, I mean, it's going to be a long-term project for me, but I'm pretty excited about it. It adds new, kind of just a whole new element to the game. We'll have to see how viable they are in Arena. I've seen a lot of good stuff with them concerning the Sith Raid. They look to be pretty good in P2. They're very good for PvE content. So TW, that'll be interesting to see how people use them there. So we'll see. It's going to be a few months for me personally, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably buy that $10 pack to get the 4-star Bossk, and I'll gear him up a little bit to play with him. But I mean, our initial reaction with the game changer so far, at least, is that the team really isn't that arena viable. They're great for PvE content, which is, I mean, ultimately what you really need them for most. I guess I mean, if you're clearing your missions and territory battles, it's not really a big deal. But really PvE content, and they also can do pretty well in raids, as we'll see here momentarily as well. I believe in this clip they do about 2 million damage in the Sith raid. So it's pretty good for PvE content, but again, I don't know how arena viable they are. We'll actually get a chance to take a look at them in arena here in a little while. I was actually able to get the developer account set up for us to take a look at it here on the stream. So they're actually going to let us stream from my developer account here, which is pretty cool. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties here with the video, so I'm going to move on to the gameplay itself. So here I'm on my beta account, and we're taking a look at that. I actually have right now a full bounty hunters team here in arena, so we'll play with them a little bit. But I mean, what do you think right now as far as leaders are concerned? Do you think that Bossk is the best leader for the scoundrels slash bounty hunters, or do you think there's a better option?
well, I mean, if you have access to Bossk, I think he's definitely probably the best leader of the bunch. The rest of them, they didn't really have much change. Um, Greedos is still similar. IG-88 is still similar. Boba's is still awesome, but it's the contracts that matter now. And Boss has got that pretty cool contract where you complete the bounty, all the bounty hunters have 50 speed, right? So I think that's pretty good. So he's got that cool leader ability where it just gives a lot of defense and a lot of just survivability until you can complete that contract, and then your guys just all speed up and you just lay it on them then. So it's pretty cool. It's interesting way to play the game. Just kind of build tanky teams, just live, survive, then boom. Then all of a sudden everyone's got 50 extra speed, just flying. It's again, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm a little jealous of those that have that have them. I mean, I'm not going to have them myself for quite some time.
The whole contracts aspect does add some fun to it. It's a little different than anything else we have right now. Do you think they're going to add more mechanics like this to the game, where like maybe when they do like a Jedi rework, where they'll have like some sort of probably it won't be called contracts, but maybe they'll have some sort of similar mechanic with another faction.
Well, I think a lot depends on the success and how well this goes over with the player base. I mean, if they put all this time and effort into developing these contracts and these characters, nobody's really utilizing them. I don't think, I guess it depends on us how much we use them and just the feedback in general. I think it's a cool. I think it fits the bounty hunters perfectly. You know, because they're such a big part of the Star Wars galaxy. You know, and up until the release of Bossk and this week, really, that they really have had very very little use in the game, except for the handful of times you use them in Dark Side TB. So it fits them well. It'd be interesting to see how they would do that. Just something like the Jedi or even like the Separatists, if they were ever to get a rework, anything like that. But it's something that I don't know, man. It looks a lot of fun, and this gameplay you're showing now. I mean, they've got all the blue icons. You've completed the contract. Everyone's got their bonuses, and they're winning. They're winning this arena battle, and these are
yeah,
these are against other game changers, correct? Like these teams are stacked, correct?
These teams are stacked, yeah. But this is not turning out. Wampa is like single handedly Wampa's like single handedly turned the tide of this battle now. To the point where I don't know how this is going to work out for us at this point, but he's got like a ton of damage with his basic attack. Let's do that. Okay, maybe this will stun him. Of course not. Oh, he's going to counter. No! Dengar can't do it alone. Yes! Okay. All right, but yeah, no, this is I mean, that's against a pretty stacked team. I mean, he has, good mods on there, and let's take a look. You can actually go here and take a look at his squad. So he had where's that team now?
It's 17th place.
Didn't I just knock him back to
Yeah, you hop from 17 to 16.
Hop from 17 to 16, so that's him right here. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you look at the team here. I mean, Wampa's got 82 speed, and the mods are pretty good. But I mean, overall, it's just it's a good squad. I mean, again, the Vader lead isn't really that meta, but the mods on this team are pretty stacked. So, but we'll take a look at a couple more battles here. I mean, again, I think they can win in arena. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not like viable to win. I mean, but they're a team that I think that if you left in overnight, I mean, you'd be dropping pretty far. Overnight for sure. So. I don't know.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't leave him in overnight on defense. No, no. No. Just because, I mean, the AI is not going to play it properly. You know, I mean, for these bounty hunters to really work well, they're going to have to complete the contract. And I mean, if the AI is just, hitting characters they're not supposed to hit and not doing the contract at all, you really lose a lot of the, you lose the use of the bounty hunters. Because, I mean, it all comes from these contracts, just all working together.
Exactly. All right, so now we can face against a Ray Jedi training team and against a Darth Treya team. Okay, let's go first against this Ray Jedi training team and see how they hold up. But I think they're not too bad. They're kind of fun to play with. It's a little bit of a task to get the contract completed because it's not like if people start taunting, it really takes away from the ability to do it. And then if you get tied up there, I mean, I can imagine pre-taunt kind of being tough for this.
Well, especially with Bossk, because Bossk is the one where you have to damage the weakest opponent, yes?
Yes.
So I mean, that would be kind of tough to get around. Because I don't think do they really have a dispel? I'm not sure they really have a dispel.
No, they don't.
On the team. Well, Greedo has one. His new ability, I think, has a dispel on it, but that's... I mean, you have to have him almost go first, which is tough. But I'll tell you what, I really like 88. That new target lock mechanic he has, and you put the Zeta on it, and it prevents any sort of healing, health, and protection. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to use it.
I mean, we're on our way here to beating, a pretty solid team right now. So... let's see how it goes. I mean, Ray's still in the game, so that means it's not over yet. But this, I'll tell you, I'm a fan of IG-88, and I'm glad he's gotten some love here. So what are your thoughts about his target lock? You were talking to me about it yesterday a little bit.
Well, I like it because you know it does require a Zeta um, to do it, but the Zeta, if a character's target locked, it prevents any healing. Like I said, health and protection, and Imperial Probe Droid, who a lot of people are really starting to get to 6 and 7 star now. We've had quite a few of these TBs, so people are starting to finish their IPDs and get him ready. You put the Zeta on him and his target lock mechanic, and it prevents any buffs. So when you combine the two of them, if a character's target locked, they cannot gain buffs, they can't heal health or protection. That's pretty. It is easily cleansable if you do have a cleanser on the team, but it's a pretty cool mechanic. I think it's going to come in very, very handy for TW offense. You can go in there and start really because IPD has a AOE dispel as well, so you can really go in there and start. You know, you might have a new ray counter. I don't think it's going to work very well. Versus, I don't know. It doesn't work too hot versus the Palpatine because they don't heal that often, and they really don't have that many buffs outside of Scion and like maybe a Sith Trooper, but. It's going to be a good team to have in my pocket. I'm enjoying it. I've got the Zeta on 88 now. Just kind of working on the best way to use him. I don't have bounty hunters, but I'm trying to bring the droids back. So we'll see how that goes. But it's fun, and all these characters have cool Zetas. They all got Zetas now. So I mean, you could have a five Zeta tricked out bounty hunter team, which I'm sure you probably have in this video. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all Zetaed out. Yeah. All right, let's try up against a Darth Treya squad, Darth Treya lead. Let's see how that goes. All right, who should I go after first here? Well, let me taunt.
Wow, that's crazy. If Vader's the weakest opponent on the team, that's nuts. That is a stacked Sith team there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Let's try to get these contracts. Thank God he stunned nobody. that was pretty aggressive. Okay.
No, but that was cool though. You did the the massive assist, and Boba went twice, and it dinged him down 6 times. Now everyone got their contracts like right away.
Yeah, but IG-88's almost dead. I don't know. He's gonna need an AOE to heal. Oh, I think that's it. Darth Treya does a ton of damage.
Yeah, she is going to be pretty tough.
She does a ton of damage. I mean, and he's already pretty much got all of his protection back. Okay.
Well, and you're watching it here. Nobody's critting because that Darth Treya lead's got the 40% crit avoidance on it,
Yeah.
and none of your. I mean, you just can't crit them. You can't hurt them. It's gonna be very difficult to handle.
Oh, oh my goodness! Just annihilated. Oh.
See, I mean, you're not critting at all. Like you're not critting ever. Like there, you finally got one with Boba Fett.
Yeah, this Darth Treya team is gonna be something else. I gotta we gotta take Vader out of here at least. Let's try to take him out. Let's take somebody out.
I don't think you're gonna take anyone out.
Yeah, this is pretty much a wrap at this point. But
no, but this is good. I mean, this is what we're doing tonight. We're showing off Bossk and what he's capable of, and the bounty hunters in general. And they're not gonna they're not gonna really beat your top of the mill Sith teams. Like you're just not gonna. It's gonna be a little tough to do so.
I think this team is gonna be OP. When Treya becomes more readily available and people have her, I mean, this is all we're gonna see. That's pretty hardcore. But yeah, I mean, so again, they can beat certain teams. We just beat a Rage Jedi training team, a pretty good Rage Jedi training team. Let me fight Mobile Gamers Rage Jedi training team and see if I can beat that. See if we can take out Mobile Gamer Squad here. No. All right. Taunt. And now we'll...
Ooh, that sucks. You can't even get to him.
Yeah, maybe that will help. Okay, I can AoE with... No matter what, the Kenobi's going to prevent this from happening. You know? It's going to be kind of difficult. But we're making some moves here. Oh, fracture. That sucks. Okay. Let me see if I can get something here on Thrawn. Again. Taunts. Okay. Come on, give us that contract. No! That was absolutely the last thing that we needed. Oh my goodness. This team just imploded.
Okay.
This team just imploded literally, and I mean we were looking good like 30 seconds ago. I got you know I'm really kind of devastated right now. I thought I had a shot at this.
Well, I mean, this is the first time you've really used them, is it not? I mean,
Yeah, I mean
this is definitely a finesse team. Like, it's going to take a lot of practice, and I think with some practice and modded properly, and you know, you have some experience with it, I think they can beat some of the higher end teams. But I mean, they're going to have to be your thing. You know, like, you're going to have to be the bounty hunter guy to really show them off. You know, every faction, there's people in the community. Every faction has somebody that specializes in them, and just make them look, you know, top notch. But these are good examples and kind of realistic expectations to set for them for like a PvP setting. You know, at TW, you're not facing everyone's top arena team. They have great teams put together on defense, but they're not arena defense. You know, so you might be able to take out some of those teams with the right bounty hunters, and each of them have different leader abilities. So, you know, maybe you can mix and match, and maybe even use like Zam and Cad Bane for certain teams. They kind of have, it's like a do-it-all team. You know, you got 7 bounty hunters, I think, to choose from. Probably more coming with the new movie, hopefully. So, you know, you'll have some pieces, interchangeable pieces that you can possibly beat every team with if you have them modded correctly. I think Dengar is kind of cool, his rework. Especially versus a team like R2. He's got an element in his kit there. If he's stealth, the opposing, you know, enemies can't go stealth. So that's something that you might be able to use every once in a while. Oh, this is P2, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, this is cool. And this actually surprised me that they were so effective in the raid. They seem to be a pretty good raid team from the footage we've seen so far. Mostly P2. I haven't really seen much footage outside of P2. But you really got to complete that contract before you kill, the ads, because you're just not going to get it.
Yeah, you really do. Let's see. Okay, we got it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting squad. I'm interested to see how well they do in the Sith raid, because I mean, obviously we're still searching for really, I mean, we have some good squads, but we're still searching for really what would be, I guess, considered the best team, or like a really sick team in a Sith raid. I really, I mean, I've seen a couple of squads that, you know, people have put together and some videos that look pretty good, but I still don't think we found like the answer yet.
Now, are you playing this, correct? This isn't pre-recorded?
No, this is me playing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a couple people get upwards of I think they were the Game Changer beta footage as well, but you know, upwards of 2 million in P2, which is, I mean, that's pretty phenomenal at this point in the raid. Probably one of the best teams. I mean, that might be the highest I've seen in a P2. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Like, overall, I think they're gonna be a very, very good team. Just a good team to have. I mean, if you guys have already started the bounty hunters, where you're just all about them and just want to dive right in. I mean, this could be a good team to have. It's just very, very resource heavy. Like, you're going to need lots and lots of gear for this team, lots of Omegas. Omega mats, we talked earlier, everyone has a Zeta. You're talking lots of ability materials, tons of gear. Dengar takes massive amounts of Carbonis. Boba Fett takes just massive amounts of Rancor gear. Greedo just gobbles up all your stun cuffs, and IG-88, just all the furnaces, just lots of gear for this team. I'm not too savvy on what Bossk takes. I haven't even looked because mine's going to be 3-star for the foreseeable future, so I haven't even really worked on him at all.
Yeah, I mean, Bossk, I haven't seen what his gear looks like yet. I mean, we could take a look in a minute. But, I mean, I would imagine he's going to take a lot of, Carbonis, probably a lot of, probably a couple of MK5 stun guns. Or MK5s, right?
Here, I'll pull it up while you're playing here. But him being a tank, I bet he takes lots of Carbonis. Let's see. Before I just start talking out of my butt here, let me just see what he really takes. I'm hoping he's on. Yeah, here he is. He is on the. I'll tell you what, man. 151 speed, base speed on a tank is phenomenal. That's incredible.
That is pretty good.
Full gear list. All right. Before I look, let's say 1,400 Carbonis. Something ridiculous.
1,400 Carbonis, yeah.
No, it's not bad. He takes 250 Carbonis, 100 of which are going to be with the MK5 stun guns. So he takes 2 stun guns, 2 of the MK5 thermal detonators, the eyeballs. So and then I guess just 50 Carbonis on its own, 3 stun cuffs, 2 of the syringes from the challenges, some of those computers from the challenges, and wow. He is super easy to gear. Like, he's not very difficult at all. Like, this is the first time I've really looked at it. Like, that's very average for as good of a character as he is. I'm kind of shocked it only takes 250 Carbonis. Now, this is the Gear 12. Let's see what he gets. He gets doesn't take any of the gold eyeballs. He takes one of the med packs. Takes a little bit of tank gear. But at Gear 12, he gets even more defense and survivability. He gets a med pack, one of the armor plating, the things that kind of look like a gold grill, like the mouthpiece. Right. And then he gets a visor, which is even more defense. So he gets even tankier once you guys complete him. So I mean, it's got me wanting to gear him now. Just get him ready because that's not that difficult, which is nice.
That's gonna be the end of this squad here. Let's see.
He's easier to gear than Dengar, that's for sure.
590K. That's pretty paltry, but still, it's better than a lot of the other squads I've played with. I mean, I've definitely done less than this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, I mean, they're cool to play around with. I mean, I'm also anxious to really try Darth Trey out and see how she does in this. I mean, we'll go ahead and we'll do some Darth Trey arena battles in a few minutes here. But first, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get into the meta report. So let's take a look at that. So this week's meta report, courtesy of SWGOH.GG, top 10 leaders at rank 1. So we're looking at Emperor Palpatine pretty much still dominating the arena with Rey and Rex. Again, a little bit of CLS kind of coming back to the forefront, but slowly there at the end, if you could see, number 9 is Darth Trey. So Darth Trey making it to the top 10 leaders at rank 1. How long do you think till she takes over Emperor Palpatine?
I bet next week we will see a big spike because everyone's going to want to try her out. Everyone's going to want to try her out. It does take a Zeta, and she's not terrible to gear, so it won't. I don't think. I mean, if you're doing the heroic Sith raid, and you really really want Trey, you're saving the gear. So as soon as you get her, you'll just take her all the way up. So I think we will see a big spike as the weeks go on. But only time will tell which leader is actually better for Arena. I'm undecided. They're different. They're a lot different. Well, I mean, Palpatine's gonna give you a lot more turn meter and speed. Trey is just gonna give you, the crit avoidance and the potency. Just a different strategy altogether. I'm close. Maybe 4 more raids and I'll have her done, or 5-star anyway. So I'll be throwing her in, see what she's got. I think I don't know. I mean, on paper, I think she might replace Vader in some of these teams. I think you might see people starting to shy away from Vader.
So do you think she'll be primarily used as a leader, or do you think do you think people try to fit her into a Palpatine squad?
I think if you have an advantage mod wise in your shard, she'll be the leader. But if a lot of people use the Palpatine lead, but they just can't keep up with their mods, so they use like Han Solo to stun the opposing Vader. I think those people that just don't have quite the mods as some of their shard mates do, they'll probably use her as support because her leadership does require some more fine tuning mod wise, and you'll have to have a fast squad behind her. So everyone will need a little bit of speed, whereas now a lot of people just stack their speed on Vader or Scion, and everybody else just goes based on the turn meter you get. So you will need more depth speed wise for Darth Traya lead. We'll see. I'm excited about her, and we've got a couple guys in my shard that have been testing it out. And it's not too difficult yet, but I mean they just got her. So once they start fine tuning the mods, it's going to be a pain. I'm gonna try to avoid them.
I'm already starting to save the gear to get her done, and I'm going to buy a vault with this crystal deal that they have going on right now because I want to start farming. I mean, I've been farming little by little Scion out of the shipments, but I want to finish him up, and I want to get that done before he goes into like a hard node or something like that. You know what I mean? And because I have a feeling that's what's happening. I mean, he's definitely going into a hard node, and he's going to be hard to get. So I don't want to do the long haul on him. I think I'm going to want to have that Sith triumvirate team ready to go. So I'm going to probably start plucking him a little bit more frequently out of the shipments, and hopes that I'll be ready for Darth Trey when she comes out. So we'll see. But yeah, the meta report relatively similar. Not much has changed really. The only new thing here to discuss of note is Darth Trey's emergence into the top 10 and possibly working her way up. I'm sure we'll see her more and more as the weeks progress here. But moving along to the top 10 squad members at rank 1, we have Grand Admiral Thrawn still holding his piece of the pie there at number 1. And really not much change. I mean, we're seeing, I guess, a little bit less Rey, a little bit less R2-D2, more and more either Empire or Sith faction characters. General Kenobi is still, just doesn't want to die. General Kenobi will always be meta. It's crazy, but again, not much has changed. I mean, what are your thoughts about the top 10 squad members at rank 1?
Oh, it looks pretty standard. It's Rey's actually making a little comeback on my shard. This is she seems to be really falling off of just in the community wide, but on my shard, people are starting to go back toward her, go back using her in BB-8 and R2-D2. I guess because people are starting to get Holdo, and maybe they're testing her out. Perhaps I'm not sure, but I mean, what you're looking at, this isn't going to change. I mean, not for a while. I mean, Traya might knock off a character from this. We'll see how Rex and Traya mix. That's going to be a big thing.
Traya will definitely be here soon.
Yeah.
Soon. I mean, for sure. So I mean, she'll be on here without a doubt. I mean, she's going to probably be one of the better characters in the game going forward, and I'd like to see how she does in the Sith raid against herself. That'd be kind of interesting too.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. This is actually, I mean, this is a pretty even. All the pie slices are pretty close. Like, it's not like we've had in the past. 2-3 weeks ago, when we looked at it, it was the Sith team where the clear cut took over 3/4 of the pie here, but now it's starting to spread out a little bit.
Well,
so that's good.
What I do notice is no Night Sisters. It seems like the Night Sisters have kind of fallen out of the top 10. So I'm not seeing any Mother Talzin, any Asajj Ventress, and that's really what's missing here from this piece here. But still they're a good counter to all these squads, so they can still have a place in the meta. But if you guys have any questions that you'd like asked on the stream, you can type them into the chat. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, type them into the chat. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into our top 5 for the week. So this week we're looking at top 5 attacking abilities, courtesy of good old Maurice and the Alliance. Remember to check out www.thealliancegaming.com for all your Alliance info and gaming needs for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, we have some interesting characters here in the top 5 attacking abilities. Let's go to number 5, and who do we have there, Maurice?
This is a Wampa, and this is actually a basic attack. We actually saw it earlier, one of those arena battles you saw. I mean, you played. Wampa was just single-handedly just dismantling your entire team with just a basic attack. I mean, he has these stacking, the crit chance and then all this stacking stuff from one of his other abilities. His basic can just counter. It counters for full strength. So I mean, just countering 40k, just basic attack 40k, just does incredible damage and just it's pretty lethal. This is probably the best basic attack in the game. Just off the top of my head, I haven't done hardcore research into it, but just I face it every day on some of these Rex teams, and it just gets down to Wampa. And even if you have 4 guys standing, it's not an easy win. Like we saw versus bounty hunters with that Bossk leadership ability, just gives tons of survivability. I mean, Wampa's just tearing through them with just that Wamp. It's good stuff. I mean, a lot of people are starting to get him finished 7-star, gear 12 ready to go, and he crushes. I mean, he's pretty incredible. I definitely when he first came out, I was a little skeptical, but I definitely underestimated the power this character had, and I'm seeing it myself with my 6-star Wampa. I use him every time for TW. He just does crazy damage.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, it's probably, without a doubt, one of the best basics in the game, if not the best basic in the game. He just, over time, starts to stack offense too and does more damage. And when he gets that crit, and he could take out, a character that's still in their protection sometimes, if he gets a good hit. And I mean, he's just, especially if you put the double bayonet on him at gear 12 and, put that Zeta on him and you have him, let's say, with a Vader who's, stacking dots on characters, he's going to do a ton of damage. And if you make him fast enough where he gets to go frequently, he's going to really be a big damage dealer for you. And a good piece for really all facets of the game, whether you're going from arena to PvE content, to territory wars. I mean, he can really just be a nice addition to pretty much any squad. So yeah, I mean, absolutely for basic attacks, that's a great attacking ability for sure.
Well, and it can't be evaded. You can't evade the attack. So I mean, even with BB-8 and Rey having foresight on, he still hits them. If he's not debuffed, he gets 20% turn meter. If the enemy was debuffed, he gets an additional 20% turn meter. So he's just going and going and going. He'll stun you if you're staggered or exposed, much like kind of like Zeb. If you're staggered or dazed, and he comes in with his basic, then he'll stun you. Right. It's vicious basic attack.
Absolutely. But number 4 on the list here is actually going to be somebody we haven't talked about in a while. Geno Spa.
Yeah, baby.
So I mean, this used to be your boy here. Tell me why you put him here at number 4.
Well, just it's a silent strike is what we're talking about, and especially verse 2. I'll bring up Rey again. Any character that buffs himself, this move, you basically go in, you take all the buffs off the enemy and Geonosian Spy. And remember that Geonosian Spy gives himself crit chance up, and he's got stealth. So there's 2 extra buffs just immediately, and then you come in with your silent strike, and it adds up all the buffs. And for each buff on the enemy, I think it's 40% more damage. So I mean, you're talking about Rey, especially like if BB-8 pops Illuminated Destiny, you're talking upwards of 10 buffs, that you're removing to stack damage, and it's a one shot ability. You can one shot if you crit with it, and you have enough buffs. You can one shot about every character in the game with this ability. Maybe not like a character like Sith Trooper with just tons of defense and 120,000 health protection, but he does massive damage. I mean, in TW, I use him for raid teams, and I've hit characters for 70K. I mean, that's going to knock out pretty much anybody. Just a big move, and that's all he's got. So I mean, you don't look at this and be like, "Wow, I need to get Geno Spa." He is totally a kamikaze bomber. He does nothing else. He's super squishy, but it's nice to finally get him on the board here.
Yeah, it's nice to have something to talk about. Geno Spa to talk about a little bit. But I mean, he's absolutely got one of the better attacks in the game for sure. I mean, when the character first dropped, I mean, he was an Erodium character, and I remember you and I both went after this guy, and I actually had held out, for him to become free to play, but as soon as he became farmable, I went after him right away because I wanted to get him to complete that Geonosian squad I was working on, and because I had a Sunfac, and I bought him out of Chromium packs back in the day. But Geonosian Spa is a silent strike for sure. Can do a ton of damage, especially these days where you have so many buffs. It's a situation where, I mean, we've got more buffs now and debuffs in the game than we've ever had before. So there's a lot of there's a lot more viability to his ability now than there was when he first dropped out. So even though he's not necessarily somebody who's at the forefront of the meta, somebody that you're going to be using in a lot of your squad compositions, he's totally somebody that you can throw in there for some fun, and in the right circumstances, he can do a ton of damage. As you said, he can hit upwards of 60, 70K if put in the right circumstance with enough buffs. And that can be a big time killer. Now you do have to have the right circumstances. Everything has to be stacked up, and he has to manage to survive to that point as well. He happens to be a pretty squishy character as well, but if you can get him stealthed early in the match, and you have the right components around him, you can win some battles with him. Again, I wouldn't throw him on your arena team on defense overnight, but he's definitely somebody who's fun you could try out with a little bit, and that's definitely one of the better attacks in the game for sure. Now moving along to number 3, best attacking ability in the game, we have Boba Fett's Execute. So what made you think about Execute here at number 3, Maurice?
Well, this one, I mean, these two attacks, Geno Spa and Boba Fett, are very, very similar. They basically take but Boba Fett's, you can use the debuffs as well. You basically dispel all the buffs and debuffs on the enemy, and it just adds them all up. And for each of those, for each debuff and buff the character has, it's 30% extra damage. And then basically adds them all up. Again, you can hit for 50, 60, 70K if they have enough debuffs and buffs on them, especially with these bounty hunter reworks we saw earlier. Lots of debuffs going around, lots of AoEs, all sorts of stuff. Dengar's got the bombs that just debuff crazy. Boba himself gives dots on his basic attack, so you can really stack these debuffs and really crush with this Execute. I mean, Boba Fett is essential for TW offense. So he counters so many teams. He bypasses the taunt. So like if you're facing like one of these CLS chase teams on defense, when you're playing TW, you can bypass Baze's taunt, bypass any other taunts they have, and just go straight for Chirrut. Because Chirrut will have 5, 6 heal over time stacked on him, and you just one-shot Chirrut, and then you've taken out the survivability of the whole squad. It's money from there. He's very, very good in on TW offense. Just essential. Every player should have this character in their arsenal. He might not be meta, but he has so many uses in the game. Great ship. We spent 30 minutes talking about the bounty hunter reworks. Just everyone should have this character, and this is a big reason why they Execute.
Yeah, Execute is absolutely one of the best attacking abilities in the game. First of all, it dispels, it does a ton of damage, and on top of that, it's with his ability to ignore taunt, he can easily take out a character with some buffs that's sitting there that maybe needs to be taken out, that you weren't able to, basically, if you're stuck with a team that's got a double tank, or this is a great character to have, to counter that, and to be able to take out some of these other characters, especially after you've done a ton of damage or a ton of splash damage and left one of the opponents, let's say, low at health, and you want to get rid of that character before they're able to get healed, or anything like that. He's a great character to do that. But absolutely, I think that Boba Fett was one of the best reworks that we've had in the game over the course of time here. Now he's kind of fallen out of the meta a bit because there's some more developed abilities, some more developed character kits that we haven't seen since the beginning of the game. And but I think the addition of his carbine rifle was great, and he's also got. I mean, they didn't really do much to him with this bounty hunter rework, but he really didn't need much. I mean, he's just a great addition to that squad, and execute is definitely his best attack without a doubt, and definitely one of the best attacks in the game. So that's number 3. Best attacking ability in the game. Number 2 is actually going to be Imperial probe droid's self-destruct. So he's a relatively new character. Some people have him now, especially since more people are clearing their TWs. I'm sure you have him at 7 stars, Maurice. He's a great addition to an Empire squad, but his self-destruct, when used correctly, can change the tide of the battle. And let's tell him a little bit why, Maurice.
Well, I mean, it's just a one. You can one shot. It's not a one shot, but it does. Just like Savage's Super Slam, I think it does 99,999 damage. So I mean, that's a lot of damage, but he does have to be below 100% health. So depending on how you want to use him, he's got a pretty complex kit. You can use him all sorts of different ways. But if you're using him specifically for the suicide bomb, there's ways to do it. You can do like Palpatine, Palpatine's move that removes health from everyone and gives it to Palpatine. Like, as long as Imperial probe droid is below 100% health, he has access to the self-destruct. It's just going to be blocked out. You're not going to be able to use it if he's got full health. So you can drain the health and just send him right away. And just send him right away, kill a character on the other team. And a lot of people are using Sith Trooper. A lot of these Sith characters bypass protection and go straight through and start, hitting your health pool. Towson's Plague is the same way. If you're facing a Towson, this is a great character to use just because his health will be removed immediately. So you can just immediately send him over, and then just like that, it's 4 versus 4. Just a one shot. All of these moves are basically just one shot, caliber. You can take out a character instantly with them, and this one is pretty self-explanatory. If you do put the Omega on it, you'll expose. And we talked about 88 earlier. There's some new target lock mechanics. When he does go and blows up the opposing character, he'll expose all the target locked enemies, which is a nice little bonus damage as well.
So yeah, I have to agree. I mean, Imperial probe droid with self-destruct does a ton of damage and can basically one-shot a character, and there's not many abilities in the game that can do that now. We used to be able to one-shot characters all the time. I mean, we had the Wedge and Biggs Darklighter combo that was able to one-shot characters quite frequently. I mean, we used to be able to one-shot a character with First Order TIE Pilot's basic attack when the game first came out. But you can't do that much anymore, and characters that can change the whole tide of the battle with one attack like this are very valuable. And it is it is a sacrifice because you're eliminating one of your characters as well, but you're able to basically pinpoint a character that is going to probably be a bigger benefit to the other squad and eliminate him, and basically kind of manage the match in whatever direction you prefer. So if you have, let's say, a character like Rey Jedi Training or Mother Talzin, or one of the better characters on the other squad that really kind of is the master of that squad, or the main component of that opponent that you have, and probably the toughest part of being able to defeat that squad. You can basically target that character and eliminate them. And I believe you can also use this ability in tandem with Emperor Palpatine and actually use it in your first turn. I believe Anal made a video about that a while back, where you can use Palpatine's ability. What's it called?
Is it let the hate flow? I'm not sure which one does it actually. It's the one that sucks the health down and gives everybody offense up.
Right, exactly. And that
Strength flows from the force. Maybe I'm not sure.
Strength flows from the force is actually that's actually Yoda, but
whoops.
no, it's called Crackling Doom. No, it's not Crackling Doom. Sorry, it's called Let the Hate Flow. You're right. You were right the first time. So, yeah, I mean, but that's basically it. I mean, he's got a ton of viability. I mean, you can really use him in an Empire Squad and Arena. You could use him in PvE content, and again, self-destruct is a great attacking ability, second best in the game as far as we're concerned. But the number one attacking ability in the game, and I think this is going to be pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, if you see where we're going here with Imperial Probe Droid, the number one character is going to be pretty easy to guess. It's actually Darth Nihilus, and annihilate is just a totally devastating attack that can take out any character instantaneously, and they cannot be revived. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much health they have, how much protection they have. It's not a certain amount of damage. It's just an instant defeat of that character, and there is no ability like that in this game. And there's really not many abilities like that in a lot of games. This is one of those things where Darth Nihilus just happens to have just probably the most amazing ability there is in this game, and he's got the ability to take out any character that you want on the board with this attack. Now, it does start off on a higher cooldown, but he has the ability to reduce that cooldown with his Drain of the Force. So, if you have a Zeta on him where he's given, I believe it's health down to every opponent as they take a turn, they'll have debuff stacked, which will allow you to drain the Force from them and, decrease the cooldown of this ability, in a couple of turns. And I've seen, people go with this as far as, probably on their third turn, and be able to, to go ahead and use it. So, if when used correctly, I mean, this can take out, the major piece of that puzzle and allow you to, to dominate the rest of the match. Why do you think Annihilate's number one on the list here?
I mean, you pretty much touched on it. Just one shot a character. It's pretty. All I have to do is put an Omega on it, and to make it where they can't be revived. Like, and the cool thing about all five of these abilities is none of them require a Zeta whatsoever. These are all Omega, and there might even be one that doesn't even have Omega on it. All of them don't require the Zeta ability match. So these are all very good budget ways to help your roster out. This is a no-brainer here. This was awesome. Like, we're IPD, while it is essentially a one-shot quote, it doesn't. This Annihilate's guaranteed. So, like, if you're Imperial Probe Droid, if you have like a Kenobi or like a Baze or any tank that has over 100,000 health protection, you're just going to hurt them. You're going to cripple them, but you won't kill them. Whereas Annihilate just instantly kills them. No questions asked, can't be evaded. Character's dead, out of the match. Especially versus these Night Sister teams, everyone except Zombie. Whole lot of revive going on, bringing characters back from the dead. You annihilate a character, they're out. You hit Talzin, you hit Asajj, done. Like, you can't bring them back. Just going out of the game for good. So it's a pretty no-brainer here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he's just a great character overall, but Annihilate is without a doubt the best attack in this game. And just as an honorable mention, we actually have another great ability that just couldn't make this list, but definitely is worth talking about, and that's Flourish by Ezra Bridger. And this attack, especially when Zated, can be a fantastic ability. It allows him to pretty much get 100% turn meter if the character has no buffs, and he can dispel with this attack. He does a ton of damage, and when used correctly with Other characters such as, I mean, I use him occasionally with a Ray Jedi training team where you call in, let's say BB-8 to assist after you do a flourish, so he's able to, basically do a high damage attack, get almost 100% turn meter, then call in BB-8 to assist, so that calls in another resistance ally to assist. So I mean, overall, if you use him correctly, he can be a nice component to a lot of different squads. One being a resistance squad. But I mean, he's got a ton of damage with this attack, and it's a very versatile ability. Definitely one that's worth noting.
Oh, especially if you lit his damage stack, how he's get stacking offense. This can do a lot of damage, and it'd probably be in the top 5 if it didn't require a Zeta. The only reason it is honorable mention is because it does require a much larger investment than the rest. And there are some abilities that where's Death Mark? Well, Death Mark is the Terminate ability, and Terminate itself doesn't really do that much damage. It's the Death Mark component that really makes it hit hard. These abilities are just single targets, just pure damage and just knock a character out. So these are all great investments to make if you're looking to really amp up your offense in your roster. Any of these characters, all of these characters should be in your roster at some point or another.
Absolutely.
So, the exception may be Spy. You can probably leave Spy out.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably leave Spy out. I would say, again, if you're somebody who likes to, play around with some sandbox teams, get your Spy, because Spy is a lot of fun. He's a cool character. He's got an interesting, mechanic with that Silent Strike, and he's definitely somebody to play around with in Galactic War a little bit before you put him on any other squads. But he's somebody you can put out there and kind of have some fun with.
Well, we say that, but let's see. These ships are getting a rework. His ship might turn into a meta ship. Who knows? Maybe you will need Spy. So this would be a way, at least get some use out of it.
If we could just get one more viable Geonosian, I mean, and maybe a rework to the rest, if they can make Poggle the Lesser actually have a leader ability for Geonosians, being that he is a Geonosian, that's not, a leader ability that's not really geared towards droids, because, we're not going to put him on a droid team anytime soon, then I would say, yeah, they could actually see some, you could see a day where Geonosian Spy has a place in the meta, but, I've been waiting for that Geonosian, that 5th Geonosian now for 2 years, and it hasn't happened, so we'll see. Maybe one day we'll get Geonosian Commander or Geonosian Geonosian Water Boy, or whatever they want to call him, and he'll be awesome. Yeah, but we'll see. But that's the top 5 this week. Top 5 attacking abilities, courtesy of good old Maurice and the Alliance. If you guys like that, please leave us a like on the video, and we'll be trying to post this as a separate video if you guys want to check it out again, later on during the week. So let's go back to some gameplay, and we'll take a look at possibly some Darth Treya here in Arena. I want to give her a shot. Now, for those of you still tuning in, next week I'm going to be announcing a contest for a free download of Star Wars Battlefront 2 on either Xbox One or PlayStation 4. So if you guys would like a copy of that game, definitely tune in next week. I'll have more details on that, and I'll be giving out one prize for each console. So if you guys have an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, you'd like the opportunity to play some Star Wars Battlefront 2, again, I'll be giving away not only a download code, but also an upgrade code for the game as well. So that's courtesy of EA as well. I want to thank them very much for that. But actually, I wanted to put in Darth Treya, so let's do that. Let me clear this squad. Darth Treya lead. Palpatine. Let's go with Vader.
Yeah, if you guys got any questions, get them in here, and I'll wrap them up. I'll scoop them up, and we'll answer them as he's doing this arena stuff with the Treya. This is cool. I want to see this. This is the stuff, because I'll have her soon again, and I don't know. I'm kind of unsure how to mod things and exactly what to do with it. So this would be a nice little peek at the future.
Well, I mean, Mobile Gamers Ray Jedi training team is definitely stacked, but let's see how well we can do here. Okay, I've never used Darth Trey yet, so this is going to be interesting. Um, Special damage to target enemy. Tenacity down for 2 turns. Okay. Okay, let me throw this on R2D2 here. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! She is like ridiculous. That's crazy. Oh. I mean, I thought it would do damage. I didn't think it was going to do that. Like, I didn't think it was going to just take him out like that.
All right, let's go ahead and redo that top 5 we just did.
Yeah, add Darth Trey to that top 5. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Okay.
That's nice. The top 5 we did is immediately outdated. So fantastic. Oh, Darth Trey, this is not going to be fun. Oy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're going to have to look forward to. Every day, all day, Darth Trey.
Darth Trey is going to be it for a little while, guys, for sure. Oh. Okay, let's it's only against Jedi. It's you can't dodge it if you're a Jedi. Okay, that's it. All right, so let's take out Kenobi here. If I get to use that attack again, I'm going to take out Rey. Wait, let me use it on Kenobi. Didn't do as much damage that time. Okay, this time he's gonna. I mean, I can already see like how I'm gonna love this team, though. I mean, you know, it's a lot of fun to play with the Sith. You know, it's been. I mean, this is not like the. Even though I have to say the Darth Maul meta was pretty cool because it was the first of all. I mean, you know, Darth Maul was, you know, one of my passions when I first got the game and I first started buying Chromium packs in this game. So I'm glad they gave him some love. But this is a completely different type of Sith team, and it's one that really is interesting because when you had Darth Maul, I feel like yes, you had the speed. And you had like sort of, well, it wasn't really speed. It was more of a turn meter advantage that you had at the beginning of the encounter. But with this team, I mean, it's not quite so reliant on speed. I mean, you can probably beat a lot of teams with a slower Sith team just stacking them with damage. I mean, you know, I don't know. I feel like putting potency and damage on Traya would probably be an important thing, and probably on the rest of the squad too. Considering you know they're really reliant upon debuffs, so I don't know. That was a pretty interesting team to try. Let's try them out against a Palpatine squad. With should we try against the Palpatine squad with Traya in it, or against the other Palpatine squad?
I think. I'm not sure how you say that guy's name. I think both of those teams are realistic. Do one without Vader, because I really think that Trey is going to replace Vader. I think Vader's going to be the missing link, I guess.
You think Thrawn will be in that squad?
I don't know. That I don't know. Yeah, just roll with whichever one you want. It doesn't matter to me. But those are both realistic team comps. We're all going to be eventually facing.
I'd like to try this team because I mean it seems like like this would be the alternative option in my opinion if you're going to put together a team like this. I mean I understand you're saying Vader won't be a part of it eventually, but if I were to put together like a Sith team right now, I mean this would be the alternative comp to the one I'm running at the moment. Like if I was going to put together a Darth Traya team, it'd be behind a Palpatine lead, or with Darth Traya as lead. I don't think the Vader lead is really going to be anything to talk about. But okay, let's take her out because obviously she's a game changer. Um, oh no, Palpatine's going down. That's not good. So either I need to remod or just reassess the way I play this game because I'm getting torn up here. Let me go for Palpatine. Maybe I can. Oh my goodness! Oh, wasn't that kind of fast for Annihilate? I mean, I feel like he annihilated like really quick. Maybe is there some mechanic that I'm not thinking of here that reduces his cooldowns? Yes.
Yeah, well, when you debuff Scion, it gives Traya and Nihilust's turn meter. So, like, if you lead off with like a Vader, then this is why I think that Vader's going to be kind of he's going to kind of fall off. Is you lead with Vader because he's so fast and drop those, all those debuffs on Scion. It just basically lets Traya and Nihilust go immediately. So, and then he goes and does his his force drain move before you even get to go. So everyone gets their cooldowns reduced. He's got 5 less, cooldowns on his annihilate. Get it off on the 3rd turn. It's going to get ugly. So it's going to be very RNG dependent, which is kind of frustrating at times. You can have the best team on your arena and lose all 5 of your arena matches. It's going to be frustrating. It'll be very difficult to deal with on a daily basis. Like even if you have guys in your arena shard, like your chats and stuff, and you're super friendly with them, you're still going to have to beat their team to climb. It's ugh.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is looking pretty over. I thought if I could get rid of Nihilus, I had a shot, but that was pretty much the end of it there.
You almost have to get rid of Nihilus first because if you just let him hang out, not only will he annihilate you, you just get tons and tons of stacking health. Like the trio now has all these,
He has so much health right now. It's like I'm not doing any damage to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
The 3 of them have that element that all kind of works together, and I'm gonna have to play with it to really get it down the best way to mod and stuff. I won't have her probably for another couple weeks. Probably 3 or 4 weeks before she's really like arena ready. So,
all right. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, we got a few.
If you guys have any questions you'd like asked or any topics you'd like to discuss on the stream, please feel free to type them into the chat now. We're gonna try to get into those a little bit here before we wrap it up. Okay, let me try a Traya team in the raid. Let me see. Let me go back here. So what's the first question?
All right, I'm rounding them up here. Hold on 1 second here. All right, first question came in like immediately. So let's see, what was it? All right, this one comes from Josue Garcia. Apologies as normal, as always, about butchering your name. What are the best 5 First Order characters for TW, TB, and for the Sith raid? Your thoughts on that?
Best 5 First Order characters for TW, TB, and the Sith raid? I mean, my opinion would probably be, I'd say Kylo Ren unmasked as the lead, with First Order Stormtrooper. I'd say First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, First Order Executioner, and then most likely First Order Officer.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much across the board. They're the best. If you're working on First Order and you have not started farming Executioner, you need to do so immediately because he really is. I mean, him and Kylo Ren Unmasked are probably the best characters, and it sucks because I have the old Kylo Zeta all Gear 12 and all pimped out. But he's just really doesn't make the cut for this team because this Kylo Ren on mass lead, it gives health and protection based on buffs. So you definitely weren't first order officer. He gives buffs and turn meter. First order executioner self buffs himself, so every time he goes, he's basically giving himself health and protection right back. Crew himself, every time he gets taunt and he heals every time somebody hits him. A first order special forces TIE pilot kind of sucks to farm him and gear him. But he gives speed up, an AoE speed up. First order stormtrooper gives an AoE defense up, a taunt, just all sorts of buffs. You want to keep the buffs flowing to keep your team living, and just executioner just does massive damage. You can give him the turn meter from first order officer. First special forces TIE pilot has an assist that you can call an executioner with. Just try to get him going as often as possible. He is the key to the obviously the Zeta lead, but then executioner does all the damage on that team. I mean, if you only have one Zeta to give it to Crew's lead. His taunt is nice, but it can kind of cost you in certain areas. It kind of hurts you, that Zeta. Just basically you get dazed, or you get God bless. Ray comes in, dispels it. Just not. If you give one Zeta to Crew lead and just kind of fool around with it and see, you can give one to first order stormtrooper if needed. It's not great, but it's good, but it's not great. Yeah, that was a pretty terrible explanation. Apologies. but I use it in every raid. I use it in TW every time. And I also use it. It depends on TB. What platoons call for. But you won't regret investing in them. They're not A++ in anything, but they're very, very, very similar to Imperial troopers. They are very good in all aspects of the game. So yeah, he's got another question here. Why is slow Vader stupidly faster than fast Vader? I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe for that mechanic we just talked about, where if your Vader goes and debuffs Scion, the whole rest of the team, Nihilus gets turn meter, Traya gets turn meter, and maybe it just kind of cycles in where the whole team goes before your Vader gets to throw his saber. Maybe. I'm not really sure what he means by that. If you're still here, man, just ask. Can I clarify what you mean? Mao M says, is the first order with Xeris still the best first order comp for TW? Depends, I guess, on your guild. Barris has so many uses, and what you guys want to do with her. There's a lot of good spots for her. I don't know. That's a pretty deep roster question for more advanced guilds. I mean, if you've got all 8 first order characters, ready to rock and roll, then maybe, because you can kind of build a Phasma lead for offense. So that's a possibility. We've got. All right. Hero of Time asks, has CG given an ETA on the ship rework?
Well, they haven't given us an ETA on it, but obviously, being that they've already released content on it, you can imagine that it's going to be happening pretty darn soon. They're not the type to be releasing footage or anything like that. Really a lot of information way in advance. So, if they already given us the ability to make videos on it and showcase it, it's definitely going to be a situation where it's probably coming out pretty soon. They're doing some tweaks to it. I know that. Obviously, whenever they put out a bigger change like that in the game, or they make adjustments, they do test it and look for feedback. So I think they're going to make some adjustments to it, but it's pretty cool. I mean, all that stuff. Again, when as you can see here at the top, it's beta gameplay. It's subject to change. There's things that they can do that adjust it, and I would expect that we're probably looking at, I'd say, within the next if I was a betting man, I'd say within the next 2 weeks we'll have it. For sure. I mean, again, I could be wrong. I mean, I don't have a guaranteed date here, but I'm just giving you my opinion.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I've been so busy this last week, I haven't really kept up with the news and updates, but
Some
I
people,
imagine it's coming soon.
some people are actually dreading it, like they don't want it. They want to leave ships the way they are.
Well, because
Uh,
what's going to happen is, like we joked about earlier, but what's going to happen is everyone has finally caught up in ships. Everyone has the same team. So these people that have invested in, first order TIE fighter, the Imperial, TFP, first order storage, the common ships, fives, Vader. These ships might not long. They may change. These ships may not. They're not going to be meta anymore. Maybe, perhaps. I'm just speculating. And then characters like Geonosian Soldier, Geonosian Spy, maybe the Gauntlet Starfighter, maybe Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle, ships that people don't really have developed and used on a normal basis may become the best ships. So we're going to see. It's really going to shake it up.
I
We'll
think
see.
I think any change like that is interesting, right? Because I mean, we're in a situation where there hasn't been any change for such a long time to ships. It's really just been the same thing. We haven't gotten, any kind of PVE content, although that's finally happening now. It's something that any type of change. I mean, obviously, it's always a little scary because it's something different than what you're used to, but it's one of those things where I think that you should welcome the change here and just kind of see what it is. And obviously, if there's any issues with it or any hiccups and it's not as good as it was before, then that can be addressed at a later time. I mean, they have dropped things and then taken them back, kind of like they did with the rewards here for the Sith raid that they changed a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, they saw that people were unhappy with that change, and they made the adjustment to bring it back to the way it was before. So I mean, again, it's something where nothing is always exactly set in stone. I mean, I thought that by now, after remember when tournaments came out, they were cheaters and they were trying to shut that down, and they were saying they were going to figure out a way to make it work. I mean, it's now been what, almost 2 years, a year and a half, and it hasn't come
Man,
back.
those tournaments were so awesome.
Yeah, I miss the tournaments, man.
Well, it's just, and we were talking before the stream about just the time this game takes on a daily basis compared to way back, and just I think maybe to us, the more veteran players, the ship changes with the starting with 3 and pulling in reinforcements. It might not be that big of a deal because all of us have big developed ships, and it doesn't take us a minute or two per battle. But if you're a newer player, do you remember when ships first came out? Like these battles took the full 7 minutes to complete because I mean you have
Oh,
under-geared ships. And I think this might help kind of keep the game flow a little better for like a newer player. You don't have to spend 7 minutes, or I guess it's going to be 5 minutes now. A ship battle, you don't have to spend the full 5 minutes. You can get in there, get it done, move on, maybe switch back to your arena and get more stuff done in less amount of time spent in game, because that's a concern of the entire community, is just the amount of time spent in game to get everything you need to do. To those that do it, I mean, they do reap the rewards. I mean, absolutely, but there's a lot to do in the game now, and it's not a bad thing. But I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm really excited about these reinforcement bonuses, and I hope to be able to use some of these ships I haven't really gotten any use out of, the entire time I've played. So it's good stuff.
yeah, we'll see.
So we got a few more.
All right, what's the next question?
All right, this one is going to be more for you because I don't really use them. But Tim Timmons asks, "Will Krennic get a unique Zeta? Ideas for this said Zeta?"
Uh, I would imagine yes, at some point. But I think that we're not looking at anything like that for quite some time. I mean, I don't think Krennic is going to get any love before we see the Jedi's get love, or the the droids or the separatists. I think we'll see that happen first before we see Krennic get any changes made to him. But let's just take a look at his unique. 628k is not too bad against Phase 1 of the AAT heroic. Let's take a look. Krennic's
Oh, here, I got it pulled up right here, man. It's called Immeasurable Power. Director Krennic gains 10% crit damage for each debuffed enemy, and also 10% crit damage for each rebel enemy. If Death Trooper is present, he also gains these bonuses.
Well,
Yeah, this is something that perhaps, if Krennic kind of fades even further away from the meta as possible, maybe this is, you could add a Zeta or even an Omega, I think. You can add an Omega to this ability, maybe bump up that crit damage. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
this is only on level 7. It doesn't even have an Omega on it.
I would love to see, especially with his area of effect attack, if maybe he was given, maybe for every critical attack, him and Death Trooper gain 5% turn meter as a
Something
Zeta.
like that, yeah.
That
That could be.
that would be pretty awesome. And that would go great with this ability. I mean, again, this is just hopeful wishing here, and just 5% turn meter for Krennic. I mean, I'd be running Krennic. And I mean, remember, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I made a video about that Citadel pack when this guy came out, because I was well aware, of Krennic coming into the game and Death Trooper coming into the game for months, and I was like salivating at the mouth to try and farm Death Trooper, and I was going to buy him. I mean, he was a couple $100. I was going to buy him. But when that Citadel pack came out, I was very disappointed with the pricing, and I decided to hold off and just wait. Fortunately, I was able to get him later on, but still, I hope they make some more adjustments to them, because I remember when they were first coming out, I thought that Krennic Leader with Death Trooper was going to be like a great combination, and Krennic Leader kind of sucks. So I think that if they got some sort of a buff like that, that might change the viability of his leader ability, right? That might make him somebody you'd want to add. I don't know if they'd ever change that leader. I mean, but that might make his leader ability a little bit more interesting, because now you're adding another component to his unique. So I don't know. I mean, again, I'd still probably go with a Palpatine lead or a Thrawn lead first, but Krennic and Death Trooper are kind of falling out of the meta a little bit here now that we're moving towards the Sith. And I'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But again, I think that we're looking at like way down the road for any kind of Krennic rework or any kind of additions to his kit. I think we're probably looking at some other characters first.
Well, they've got plenty of love. I mean, Empire is fine. It's right now. I don't think they really need much. Jedi. There's a lot of other factions that need to be touched on first.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Hero of Time asks another question. Do you see Visas Mars replacing Barriss on a First Order team? I guess they're touching on that again. Do you see Visas Mars replacing Barriss? No, I guess not on First Order, but just across the board. Do you think Visas will be a better character than Barriss?
Maybe at some points, but I mean, I kind of think she's already there. I mean, Barriss is really just great because of her, her ability to I mean, obviously to heal, but her Zeta just makes her, a great addition to a lot of different squads, because she just adds so much health to these stacked health characters. That I feel though like the kit for Visas Mar is by far better than Barriss is. So it's like if you're looking at just Barriss is more of a somebody you're like a pedestal, somebody you're putting on the team to look at. She's not really going to do a lot of damage for you. Her heal, I mean, healing in the game itself. I mean, who cares about healing right now? I mean, other than like your passive heals. I'm not talking about like a healer or that Luminara, Barriss. The days of a healing character really aren't viable right now. But passive heals are where it's at. Like heals with like protection, like for example from Thrawn, or from a let's say a Veer Zeta, for example. Those types of passive heals are where it's at. But I'd say as we maybe move into another Rebel meta, we could possibly see Visas Mar become a bigger player. But I don't think she'll ever be top of the meta character, just like Barriss isn't right now either.
Well, they're different. And I think Barris, if you would have asked us a year and a half ago during the Wigs craze, like Barris, I mean, if you're facing an enemy that's heavily dependent on like critical damage, Barris is going to be better. Rebels, like if you're facing a Rebel team, Barris would be much better. If you're facing a Sith team, I mean, there's no question. Visas is going to be amazing because, I mean, if you're attacking a Sith, she heals herself and another ally. She's got some dispel mechanics or cleansing mechanics, excuse me, going on. It's all sorts of healing elements against the Sith, and she counters. She can assist characters that attack a Sith character, and when she assists, she's giving the healing benefit as well. Just, I guess it depends. I think they're both top-notch healers. Visas is probably better just in the overall scope of the game, but both of them have their uses, and both of them are going to require a Zeta. So, I mean, either one. And Barris is obviously, much easier to obtain at this point. We'll see where Visas ends up. I guess in just a few weeks here, she'll be farmable somewhere. If according to the cadence. So I'm looking forward to that. I've started working on her a little bit because I think she is going to be pretty handy. We're facing a lot of people in TW that are using her on defense. A lot of people are pairing her with CLS. A lot of people are pairing her with Rey. All sorts of uses. I haven't seen. He asked specifically about First Order. I haven't seen anybody using Visas with First Order yet, but that could change. Maybe you've encouraged somebody, Hero, to do so in the next CW. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, I'm trying Visas out in arena against this Sith squad with Traya. See how they do. But I'm pretty sure that the results are going to be bad. You know what I mean? But we'll see. I mean, she's a great character. I just think again that they're two different characters. The ability that you're getting out of Barris is totally different and really beneficial in a different way than Visas is. And oh my God. I mean, just as a side note, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, this is over now. But Visas definitely, I think, will have her place. I think she's more of a PvE character right now. But again, I don't think Barris is really, you're not really seeing a lot of General Kenobi teams with Barris Offee anymore or anything like that. So, I mean, I think, again, Barris will probably have her place again at some point when we see like some sort of a Jedi rework or some benefits like that. Maybe with Hermit Yoda. That could be a really strong tandem there with the heal and, Hermit Yoda's benefits. Especially if we get some sort of like a Return of the Jedi Luke or something like that to add to the mix, that can make the Jedi really a force to be reckoned with. But if you
really think about it, let's be real. We're in the middle of the Sith meta. We now have Isolate from Traya. We have Shock from Palpatine. We have healing and target lock now with these bounty hunters. There's target lock going around that can prevent healing. Healers are not a relevant part of the PvP game right now. There's not. I think you're better off putting in either a tank or somebody that does damage. Any other type of character right now in the current meta. I just don't think the Barris has had her time in the meta. She a lot of people ran the GK Barris teams. A lot of people still run GK Barris on offense TW. People put Barris all over. Like Barris has many uses. You can't go wrong. Very easy to gear. Visas, we'll see. I don't personally have any experience with her myself, so I can't. I don't want to just talk out of my butt, I guess. But we had a good question here. Xylo Takedown. What's up, Xylo?
Xylo.
What is the ideal Rex lead PvP hybrid team? What's the best Rex team for arena offense and defense?
Well, it's actually quite interesting. There's a team right now. Let me get out of here. I'll show you something. I think right here. It's using Rex lead. It's a pretty good combination. It's with Wampa, Scion, Mother Talzin, Kenobi, and Rex. This team on defense is actually pretty good. And it's got a lot to do with that Rex and Wampa combination, I think. I mean, have you heard anything about this team? I mean, I've been hearing people say this team is one of the better teams on defense.
Yeah, I've got lots of Rex on the shard. There's two parts to every single Rex team right now in the current meta. It's Rex and it's Wampa. So there's A and B. Those two are probably going to be required. Not even just the AoE days. is what really cripples these Sith teams, and not to mention all the turn meter you get from the Rex lead with all the AoEs from Vader and Palpatine and Nihilus, all that type of stuff feeds lots of turn meter. But Wampa is definitely essential in this team. All the best teams include Wampa right now. And then you have you got some other hybrid things. You got a lot of people are using Crew for the pre-taunt. They have the Zeta on as pre-taunt to kind of protect the team. A lot of people are using Talzin. The toughest one on my particular shard is Rex, Wampa, Nihilus, Scion, and just pick a tank. Crew, you could use Kenobi. I think you mentioned, because this team is really tough to beat with your Sith teams, because all the debuffs are going to land on Scion, like we talked about earlier. Nihilus can get all that turn meter, and then he's going to drain all your cooldowns and just destroy you. Like, you know, he's going to get the advantage. Because basically, like, we're getting to the point now where a very, very fast Vader, especially maybe on defense. Offense, you can manipulate it a little better, but on defense, your Vader's going to go first, drop the AoE. But what's going to happen is you're going to land all these debuffs on Scion. Nihilus is going to go drain your entire team's cooldown, so you can't even throw the saber with Vader. So Scion, I think, is pretty good at this team. Rex, Wampa, Scion, Nihilus, and, you know, pick a fifth. I think that's the best. Talzin. Talzin is also good. But just any Rex lead is very, very suspect to Night Sisters. Like, I have two arena teams. I have my Palpatine team and then my Asajj lead team. My Asajj lead team can auto any Rex team on my server in like a minute. Same thing for Rey. Like, it's like Rey and Rex get Night Sisters. Everything else gets the Palpatine.
Well, Rex is always going to be the anti-meta. I mean, he's gonna always counter speed. He's gonna always counter really pretty much any team, because he's anti debuffs. He's anti speed. He's really pretty much the counter to anything. So whenever there's a new meta and you don't know where to go to defeat that meta, you'll see a Rex. So I think that's going to be the go-to until we see somebody else. Really, quite frankly, probably one of the best made characters in this game, because he's been meta forever. I mean, he's the only character that without a Zeta or a rework has straight up dropped in this game and always been a viable character from day one. So, I mean, he's just... you could say there's some other characters out there that are similar. I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn was for a long time one of those characters as well. But absolutely, Rex is probably with Kenobi the best kit in the game, if not the best kit if not the best kit in the game, the second best kit in the game.
Yeah, let's see here. Sorry guys, I might have lost your questions. We had CG Carey join us, and the chat went bananas and started just going nuts. I lost a lot of the questions. I apologize.
Okay.
Mr. Wonderful gave you a shout out here. He says you're the first game changer he's watched. He's been a fan of a long time. So,
thank you, Mr. Wonderful. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been at it a long time. I'm glad that you've stuck the course with me. I hope you expect a lot more out of me, because I got a lot more coming. I got now, now a little bit more equipment to work with, and a little bit more time, because my circumstances have changed a little bit, so you'll see a lot more content dropping soon for sure. But thanks for sticking around, checking out the content. I always appreciate anybody who watches our videos and the live show.
Hero time. Do you guys think that when we get Zetas for Kenobi and Anakin, that they will have synergy, sort of how Krennic and Death Trooper do? Kenobi doesn't need a Zeta, but I mean, if he gets one, that would be cool. Anakin is definitely a character I think that could use a Zeta, because Anakin has had his time in the sun, out of the sun, in the sun. He got reworked long time ago, and he was meta for a while, but nobody uses Anakin anymore really at all. Like, he's got buff immunity on his basic. He does an AoE that does decent damage and exposes himself, but besides, it's not really relevant nowadays. It would be cool to see him. Yeah, that I don't know. Zetas on Kenobi scare me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think a Zeta could hurt Kenobi, but I do think that he could become a little too OP. You know what I mean? But again, he's a character that's one of those characters that I don't think they really want to mess with. So even when the time comes, I don't think he'll get a rework with like the rest of the Jedi. I think they may just throw him as Zeta that gives him some sort of additional bonus because, again, the kits nowadays are just so advanced, and they're doing such a good job with putting together these kits that it's you need something complex to kind of handle something like a Darth Traya lead. I mean, that's just that kid is just so involved. There's so many moving parts that you need to have something that can help somebody with a simple kit like Kenobi's. Even though it's effective, a simple kit that can get it done. I mean, it wasn't simple when it first dropped, but again, you're looking at now, these kits that have so many different variables in a leader ability and a unique. They're tied to other characters. These are not things that were really around when the game first dropped, so it's cool to see that that's happening now.
Well, I mean, as far as synergy goes, no. I don't think they'll get synergy because Anakin already has that kind of silly synergy with with Ahsoka. But it's already there. I don't think they're going to take that away and replace it. Grimm's in here joking that it'll have bonuses versus Tuskens, and so that'll be. It's just, I don't know.
Let's try Cad Bane and
don't do that.
Try Cad Bane and yeah, I guess you're right. We might as well. I mean, this is something different, But by the way, shout out to Carrie. Hey, thanks for checking me out tonight. So, do we have any more questions?
Yeah. Who are the two best tunes? This comes from Mythos. Who are the two best tunes to use with Trey and Nihilus and Scion? I guess the people are still figuring that out, right? I mean,
two best tunes to use with Trey, Nihilus, and Scion. I would say probably Palpatine and Sith Trooper.
Yeah, I like Sith Trooper in there. The only problem with Sith Trooper is Scion doesn't get receive quite as much as the speeding up of his Held by Hatred because you kind of got two tanks to distribute the damage. So you do have an option, to hit either. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to use Sith Trooper out of the gate. I guess I'm going to use Sith Trooper and maybe Sith Assassin. I think Savage kind of has a place with Traya. Maybe not in Arena, but in a TW where you got to split up all your characters. I think Savage will kind of come back into the fold a little bit more than we're seeing him. Palpatine and Sith Trooper probably is who I'm going to start. Maybe Sith Assassin. We'll have to see. I'm not personally going to use Vader immediately. I might go back. I might revert back to Palpatine lead with Vader and the three of them. I don't know yet, but I really want to try to use this crit avoidance mechanic that's in Treya's leadership ability. It's just getting a crit avoidance arrow with decent speed on it. It's just like pulling a needle out of a haystack. I mean, I'm never going to get that, but we'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be frustrating because everyone's going to have it. It's just going to be super RNG dependent. So we'll have to see what the best strategy is with that. Probably in a couple weeks, more and more people will have experience. Even people will put out videos, of their own. Lots of videos will be, a lot of content will be out on Traya real soon.
For sure. Yeah, I'm planning on putting some videos together about Traya. I mean, now that I have access to her on a regular basis, I'm gonna try to put out some videos about at least the raids. Because really nobody has the opportunity to look at her at 7 stars except for us right now because we happen to have her maxed out. So if you want to get an early look at what she might be able to do, as a 7-star character in a raid. I want to get some practice with her and see if I can put together a good score in either a Sith raid or maybe a heroic AAT or something like that.
Yeah, let's see. We got a couple more here. Oh, okay. That's one. There was one before this too. Oh, we can touch on this. How should I mod crew in Special Forces TIE Pilot from Mr. Garcia again? How do you mod crew and how do you mod the Special Forces TIE Pilot?
Well, crew is interesting because he's got a taunt, so you kind of want him to be a tanky character, and he does counterattack, so you also want him to do some damage. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and take a stab at it here in a second. But what I first want to do is just take a look again at his kit, just to kind of give it a better, well, at least give myself a better idea of what I think he could use. He's not modded right now in here, but
Well, Special Forces TIE Pilot is a pretty generic mod. I mean, just you can. I mean, you want speed and you want offense. Crit chance is all. I mean, speed, offense, crit chance. You know, crit damage set, crit chance. I mean, if you have good secondary speed, you do want him to go a lot because he's got the assist that you can target and bring in Executioner just because he deals so much damage. He hits pretty hard. He's got a nice basic attack. He hits pretty hard.
I would say with both of them, because they don't have any kind of turn meter manipulation, really. I mean, I would say that you really want. I mean, other than advantage, and obviously with being called in for assist. Let's say with like first order stormtrooper. I mean, I'm just saying. I think I would go with speed sets as the main set that you go with, and then. Stacking offense secondaries. I mean, I would be looking for, so obviously speed secondaries are always going to be a bonus. I mean, you want the characters to be as fast as possible, but I think you're looking at speed set with possibly a man that he's a tank. I'd say probably a health set.
On crew, I would go 3 health sets on crew just because he's got the. When you damage him, he regains health based on his max health. I like stacking tons and tons and tons of health on crew. Speed is not. I don't know. It depends if you have that second Zeta on him, I guess.
It depends on what you're using him for. I mean, again, if you're trying to use him in arena, he needs the speed.
Yeah, arena definitely. Yeah,
but if if you're using him for PVE, then yeah, stacking offense would be the way to go for sure. But I mean, I'm just saying, if you're trying to use crew in arena. And first order special forces TIE fighter, they need to be fast. So I would say speed sets are always going to be the primary there, with speed secondaries being your main focus. I mean, speed. But again, they're both characters that need to do some damage because, again, the first order faction, I think if it is lacking something, it is damage. There's. You get some damage out of KRU, but he's not a huge damage dealer. He's not like a Commander Luke Skywalker or anything like that. He's not going to do a ton of damage. He can put a hurting on you in the right circumstances with the right buffs and things like that. But I mean, again, I just think you want to increase high offense, not offense percentage, but solid offense numbers like 80 offense, 90 offense, secondaries with speed sets. And then, being that he's a tank, I'd go with a secondary of health set, like the second set besides speed would be health. And then for first order special forces TIE fighter, I'd go with possibly a speed set or an offense set, and then for the second set, maybe potency.
Does he? I don't think he really. I don't think he really does many debuffs. I could be wrong.
Does he need potency?
I mean, I pretty much when I use him in the raids. The only time I manually use first orders in the raids usually. So like I just try to get executioner going as often as possible. So I'm just spamming assists. Let me just double check. They all have some sort of debuff mechanic, I think. So 1 second. Let me.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
No, he's more of a. Oh, excuse me. He's got defense down on his basic attack, so definitely, yeah, that's pretty important because you just touched on the lack of offense they have, and defense down will help your first order team offensively.
Yeah,
so a little bit.
So potency would help, but I mean, yeah, just off the top of my head, that's what I would say in my opinion.
All right, we got I think just a couple more. Well, one more, actually. Tim Timmons just got one in here. Oh, we got a few more, actually. Tim Timmons. I just lost you. Pal. 1 second. All right. When will Vader get his Rogue One boarding party unique? Never mind. I I should probably
Rogue
screen
One
some of
boarding
these.
party. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. No. I would love. I would love if they had changed some of Vader's animations in the game. I mean, I wish he had a force choke. Maybe there'll be another version of Vader at some point. Maybe we'll get comic Vader, or maybe we'll get like half helmet Vader, like after like just prior to his death, Vader, like with his helmet half like cracked, it'd be kind of cool that they have in the comic books. If you guys have ever seen the Vader comics, I mean, they have some. He has had some battles where he's had gotten really tattered up, like where he's been like all damaged and stuff. Maybe there'd be like a younger version of Vader. Maybe eventually, kind of like they did with Rey, where they eventually started calling her Scavenger Rey. Maybe they'll call this Vader like Empire Strikes Back Vader or something like that, and then maybe they'll have pre like a prequel Vader, maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with some name for Vader that kind of indicates that it's the Vader between Episode 3 and Episode 4. So that'd be kind of cool. Any more questions?
We got, I guess, a couple speculation questions. Let's see.
I'm always down for speculation questions.
Let's see. We got a question from Zephyrox Eternity. Would you want a real-time PvP function in the game?
Yes. Absolutely yes. I've been begging for this for like 3 years, and the game's only been out for 2.5.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I would say absolutely. I mean, I don't know if that could ever work, okay? Because the way the game works, it kind of, you're not playing the game on a live server. It does connect to the server, because it has to kind of, that's how you determine whether you won. It basically sends a message to the server that you won or lost, right? But while you're playing the game, wherever you are, you're playing locally. Okay, so you're not actually, the internet doesn't really matter as much. So I mean, like you just need to have internet to then, to then send the message to the server that you either won or lost that battle. So that's why, like, at the end of a battle, it'll sometimes be searching for internet, because during the battle you can play, without any service. But I don't know if I don't know how big of a change that would take, or how much or how expensive it would really be. Because I mean, that would be probably the main determining factor, is how much it would cost to do that, and the benefit for it. I mean, I've talked with EA Jesse about it a couple of times, and obviously it would be really cool. I play some other games that are live, like I play a Power Rangers game that's a live PvP game. It's very cool. It's like almost like Street Fighter style, but there's not. That's a whole different kind of server. So it would take a big buy-in from EA, and they would have to see some sort of tangible benefit financially to do that. I don't know if they could make sense. I don't know if it would make sense to put that much effort into a game mode like that to not really see any kind of financial benefit from it. I mean, I don't know if there'd be any way to make more money doing that than they're making right now. So, I mean, again, I think that that's probably not going to happen, but obviously I would love something like that to happen. Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. It sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I have no knowledge on that whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
good answer. Jumping Joey says, I'm a light side fanatic and believe the next resurgent of the light side will be Jedi Luke with the Jedi rework. I'm just wondering what your opinion would be on the resurgence of the light. I'm going to guess that Jumping Joey is a newer player because the first year and a half of this game was dominated by rebels. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a long time where Rebels were all it was, but I mean, yes, Dark Side is here right now to stay for a while, and it's a good thing. I mean, again, I think that it's interesting to switch it up a little bit, and you don't want to always have the same. Rebels were. I mean, people complained for ages about how Rebels were too OP, and then the coming of Commander Luke Skywalker didn't change that at all. Because before that we had Baze and Chirrut that were pretty much dominating the game. So I mean, I can't say that I think that it's going to happen anytime soon, but I do think that eventually we will see some love to, and I've said this many times on the streams and the shows, that we'll see some love for the lesser used Jedi characters. Like, for example...
Like all of them.
Yeah, like Plo Koon, Mace Windu. I mean, please, Carrie, if you could do anything about this, make it happen if you're out there and you're listening. Get a rework to Mace Windu. I would love to use Mace Windu with purpose in this game. But...
Well, to touch on that, look. I mean, as we speak here, you're sitting here building this Jedi trading Rey team. I mean, they're light side, so that, I mean, they still have a small place in the meta. It does all Sith right now. Rex is light side. There are light side characters that are relevant. It's just it is heavy on the dark side right now, which is fine. It's getting frustrating playing the same team over and over again, but it's always like that. You're always going to play the same teams. At the end of the day, whether it be light side or dark side, whatever the case may be. You're actually using Rose Tico in this battle. That's interesting. I haven't used her one single time in my roster. She's still like gear 4, but
yeah, I haven't used her either. That's why I'm giving her a shot, because I haven't had a chance to try her out yet. But come on, that does so much. She just took out my Rey. But I mean, Rey has so much health. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's bananas.
So, guys, the moral of this stream is, if you guys are relying on Jedi trading Rey, it might be time to have a backup plan. It might be.
This team, I mean, once Rey Jedi training's done on a Resistance team, the game is over. I mean, what are you gonna? And I haven't used Holdo yet either. What's this attack?
Oh, you could 7K him to death with Rose Tico here.
I could 7K him to death. Yeah. I mean, these guys are all like secondary characters. These are just, characters that are here for like moral support. What's this ability? Oh, she shows everybody the rebel sign. Thank God for Rose Tico. She runs up to Scion and gives him a gut punch. Don't like you, Scion.
Yeah, Xylo takedowns. Says he'd like to see a dark side Anakin. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool, dark side Anakin, or even a Padawan Anakin. I mean, actually, Padawan Anakin's his character model's in the game already. I mean, that was already in the data mine files, and on SWGOH.gg, if you look, they used to have a spoiler section where you could see like a picture of Anakin. So a lot of characters have come from that. I mean, Hermit Yoda was there. We had the first look at the new Leia there. I think Rebel Officer Leia Organa was there. Hoth Leia, we used to call her, or whatever, and. So a lot of characters have come from there. There's other characters that still haven't made their transition yet. I think there's a Night Sister called Luz, Luz, that was data mined a while back that never came out. Embo, I think at one point was actually slated to come into the game, but kind of got pushed back somewhere down the road. And I don't know how soon or if we'll see. I would have imagined with the Bounty Hunter rework, Embo would have been a great addition too. But obviously they went with Bossk. Who's also awesome. I mean, Bossk is great, so hopefully...
there are some other bounty hunters, I mean, kind of from the same era, right? Like Embo and Cad Bane. Like, these are like Clone Wars bounty hunters, yes?
Yes.
Like, so maybe if we were to get somebody like Embo, they could kind of hook up Cad Bane with much-needed rework as well, so... And kind of maybe tie him into the existing bounty. They'd be cool. I mean, the possibilities, they are kind of endless with these bounty hunters. There's a lot left in the lore to choose from, and just in terms of that, I don't know. This might just be the beginning. Like we might see some new bounty hunters, more contracts, more payouts, that sort of thing. It gives them something to build on in the future. Again, I guess if we're using them, if nobody's using the bounty hunters at all, then who knows? I don't know. Just
we'll see. But it's still kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, and Grim just typed in a whole bunch of them. Jango Fett. We got 4 LOM. Aura Singh, Django again, Django. So I mean, there's Imbo, yep.
Yeah, Embo could have been a character. Yeah, sure. I mean, but hopefully he'll come into the game eventually. And I mean, again, it's they can only release so much time. This happens to be an IP that has tons and tons of lore and characters. I mean, hopefully eventually we'll get Darth Revan. And I mean, we've been speculating. I mean, I can't tell you that we haven't. There's not a single Game Changer meeting or chat that doesn't pass where we ask when Darth Revan is coming into this game. Every single time. I mean, I'll be like, so is Darth Revan coming?
Well,
is he coming next week? But I mean, I again, just being a speculator at heart and a dreamer, I would say that we saw Darth Nihilus last year, we saw Darth Sion and Darth Traya this year. I have to say around February, March next year. I mean, fingers crossed, Darth Revan.
Grim has an excellent idea for a Mace Windu rework. If Django comes into the game, if he's released, Mace Windu cuts off his head on turn 1 if he's on the opposing team. So rework for Mace Windu comes when Django comes.
That'd be cool.
Instantly kill Django.
I'd love to see Django Fett in this game. That'd be awesome.
All right, the next question comes from good old Maurice. His question is, I have 54 minutes left. Will I be able to complete the mythic tier on the ground war assault battle?
I think yes, but I mean, I only think that because you figured it out yesterday. I don't think I will. So I mean, I tried with my Jedi team, and no, I don't have the patience. So I mean, I may. You're a better man than I, my friend.
Well, like I said, I as we were setting up for the show tonight, I was uploading the video of me completing the event yesterday. 25-minute video. It took me 25 minutes to beat that. Was it worth the 2 Zetas? Absolutely. Is it worth the time and effort for 2 Omegas in the future? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have Ewoks, and my Ugnaught, obviously, I don't have Ugnaught, so I'm sure he was super helpful to those that did. But I had Jedi, and I just basically bored the other team to death. I mean, once you get through the 4th phase on that mythic tier, it's pretty smooth sailing. But just that Grievous with the death mark and all the health down or the healing immunity makes it super difficult. You have to use. I couldn't do it without Grandmaster Yoda. I spent 3 hours on and off yesterday trying to beat it, and Grandmaster Yoda was the ticket for me. But
right.
Yeah, that's all the questions we got. Yeah, I think that's about it. If we missed questions, guys, sorry. You guys were super chatty tonight.
Yeah, listen, guys, we'll be back next week. So definitely, stay tuned. Next Sunday night, we'll be back for another stream. And maybe if we can get one off during the week, we might do one too as a surprise if possible. But definitely expect next Sunday for me to have more details about this contest for the free game. We're going to be giving away a download code for Star Wars Battlefront 2 for both Xbox and PlayStation 4. I have codes for both, so I'll give you the details on how you can win that. So stay tuned. Come check us out next week. If you guys want to come chat with me, you can always come over to the Alliance Discord. You can go over to www.thealliancegaming.com to check us out there. And you can follow the instructions into our Discord that way if you don't have Discord and don't know how to use it. But again, I appreciate everybody checking out the stream today. If you guys want to, chat, we're always there and available. But, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And, may the Force be with you guys. We'll see you guys on the next one.